Welcome to our Doo Wop Journey. Hi, I'm Rob Albanese, President of LAR Enterprises, producer and promoter of doo wop music throughout the United States. Let me introduce you to our host for our journey, Mr. Cool Bobby B from Sirius XM Radio, 50s on 5.
Thanks, Rob, and welcome to a great show. We're going to take you on a fantastic doo wop journey with some great interviews and some great music. Let's get things started.
We're really excited to have with us tonight in person some original members and founders of the Heartbeats. Wally, Vernon, it's great to be with you guys.
We are happy to be here.
It is indeed.
Our TV show, as you know, is called our Doo Wop Journey. And you guys really were back there when the journey began. Tell me how the group got started.
In the bathroom. Actually it started before me. I joined it in the bathroom.
Okay.
Vernon and Robbie and Crump was already happening when I got involved with it. So you can tell them how it happened.
Well, certainly the bathroom was a key part. And the part that was good was the fact that the bathroom had an echo sound to it. And so in addition to the bathroom, the subway also worked very good. But certainly as far as the Heartbeats are concerned, a large part of our maturing and getting the harmony to sound the way we wanted it to sound was in the bathroom. And it had that echoey sound.
Well, we're glad about that bathroom, I can tell you right now. We're very happy about it.
Vernon and Robbie lived on the same block.
Okay, and where was this?
That was in Springfield Gardens, Long Island.
Okay.
He lived in Springfield Gardens, Long Island. Actually, Albert Crump lived in Ozone Park. Wasn't it South Ozone Park?
South Ozone
Right
Park.
on the edge of the railroad tracks. In fact, on this side of the railroad tracks he lived on. The other side of the railroad tracks, rich people lived on. So he was living on the poor side of the railroad tracks.
Gotcha. When you first started out, was there any groups in your mind that you kind of looked up to or tried to emulate?
Oh yeah, we loved the harp tones. We loved the G. Was it? The
Crows? The Crows?
Yeah, we loved that group, and we loved the Five Keys. We thought the Five Keys were outrageous.
Well, I have to say something. Whenever I was asked that question, I always think, you say a group. When I was about 12 or 13 years old, sleeping in my bed, there used to be a group of guys in my neighborhood in Springfield Gardens who used to walk around the block and they used to sing. They used to sing, "Sing, little bird, please sing to me." And I said, man, does that sound good? And Robbie used to play the piano, and I would go over him and I would say, play that. "Sing, little bird, please." And we used to use that phrase to interview guys and audition guys on singing harmony.
Gotcha.
So we used to get one guy to say, "Sing, little birds, please sing to me," and then "Sing, little bird." And we used to practice that with Robbie, but then the real test would be to go back to Woodrow Wilson and get into that bathroom and "Sing, little bird."
So if you could make it in the bathroom, you could make it
If you
anywhere.
could make it in the bathroom, that was a good step. That was a good step.
That's where I passed the test.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
bathroom.
and
I
you
gave
made
Yeah,
it-
we tested him.
I-
Yeah.
Were you looking for a bass singer at that time, or how did that all work out?
Well, as a matter of fact, we was looking for a bass singer. But Wally, one thing about Wally, he had a good start because he had a good voice. And Wally used to sing, in the auditorium. I mean, they used to have these things, and they would always get Wally to talk and say little things. And so that's how. In fact, I was one of the guys that was really listening. I said, let's try Wally. So we did manage to get Wally in the bed. Hey, Wally, do this little thing. Let's do this little, so what is that? Just listen. "Sing, little bird, please sing." And Wally sang, and then we harmonized. I said, "Okay, Wally, that sounds good. That's a good possibility there."
How'd you guys get your first record done?
Well, before we got to that, we did a show for Ralph Cooper on television, which was at the RKO Theater on Jamaica Avenue.
Right.
And the four of us sang "Three Coins in a Fountain" for dancers that was dancing all around. It was the Bernice Johnson Dance Factory or Dance School or something like that. And our first gig as a singing group was the four of us singing
Three coins in the
Three Coins in a
Did you
Fountain.
sing it like in unison, like the old pop version, or did you
Well,
sing it in your own
actually,
harmony?
Albert Crump, who was our tenor, he really had a
He sang the
very
lead.
natural natural,
Beautiful tenor.
beautiful tenor voice, and 3 coins in the fountain.
Yeah.
And you can do anything behind that.
Yeah.
It'd sound good, and it just
what he
worked.
did. That's what he did.
And that was, we used that a lot.
And then I took the guys to the basement of Illinois Jacquette, the saxophone player, which is one of the greatest saxophone players of all times. He was a friend, a neighbor, sort of like a neighbor of mine, and he auditioned us down in his basement.
Right.
And he sent us to his brother, Russell Jacquette, which was a trumpet player, who was a jazz trumpet player, but he was supposed to be starting a record company. So we went and we did Tormented, and what was the other song?
Tormented was one. We sang 3 coins in the fountain, okay. And I really don't remember what else we did.
But anyway,
it was
Tormented.
Yeah.
Right.
But
was our song.
he was like our teacher. What was good about what I remember about him, of course, him being a musician, and he used to give us little tips, training, and it was extremely helpful.
Well, some of the biggest jazz players, the piano player, the bass player, the drummer, they're all major jazz musicians. I don't remember all their names at this
Right.
moment, but it was like all the heaviest jazz musicians around because they were all his buddies.
Yep.
And they played behind us
Right.
in Reverence of Tormented. And at that time, our name was actually the Hearts. While we're in the studio, we
Right.
were the Hearts. And then this girl group came out,
Right.
naming themselves the Hearts. And we said, what is this now? So
We had to
we
change.
came up with the Heartbeats. That's how the Heartbeats actually got created as far as the name.
You just answered a really interesting question I've always wanted to know in my mind. Tormented is such an unusual record. Of all the records in the world, that really stands out as a very unusual record. Was it that jazz influence that made it that way?
Well, I think it was just the every beat of my heart type feeling, and then it was like sort of like a jazzy type melodic thing that we did because we were into doing very, let's say, special stuff. We weren't copycats in
Right,
reference to what we did. We didn't copy anybody else that was singing or doing anything. We were trying to create our own individual sound, and our sound was Albert Crump, which was our first tenor,
Right.
and Shep,
Yep.
and the bass, and we had perfect harmony. We had they said in New York City, we were the best harmonizing group in New York City at the time.
That's a very good point because this time that we're talking about, we had Shep, and when we got Shep, because he had what we felt and what was a good lead voice, we could now concentrate the other 4 guys on the harmony, of which we love to do, because I really love to sing harmony, and with the 4 of us singing a harmony with Shep doing the lead, that really established the sound of.
We rehearsed
the
7
Heartbeats.
days a week.
Wow.
7 days a week, every
single
night.
day, yeah.
I got thrown out of my house 2 or 3 times because I didn't get home before midnight.
But
And I was wasting my life doing this.
But a very key, because this 7 days a week, rotating was really something. But I have to give my parents and the parents of all of us a tip of the hat, because they allowed us, as long as it was on a rotational basis,
Right.
you know what I mean, to practice at the house. Okay, we did it at the Sievers' house. We'll go over to Wally's house, and we kept rotating, and they helped us out tremendously.
How did it happen that you guys started on sort of a musical journey? You're 1,000 miles away. You're 500 miles to go.
We
How did that all
started
come
with Crazy for You.
about? Right, I understand that.
Crazy for You was done in the basement of Al Brown, where the basement was much closer than this. In fact, the basement was about maybe up to here, maybe up to here. We were like making sure we didn't bump our heads while we were singing in Brooklyn. And he played vibes, and
Well, let me say, a key factor of our song certainly has to go to Shep, because he would fall in love with these different girls,
Right.
and out of that he would come out with a theme song. You know, I'm crazy for you.
Right.
You know.
Well, 1,000 miles away is about a girl that went to Texas
Okay.
and left him.
Yeah.
That's how she was 1,000 miles away.
So theme-wise, you would have to give you'd have to give Shep, and he'd love to. He had these pads, and he would write down little things, and so he did a lot of work to really construct the songs.
His songs were real life stories.
Gotcha.
Indeed, indeed.
How do you guys feel about performing now, all these years later? It's very exciting for me. How do you guys feel?
Well, it's, let's say, a shock to us, real shock, because we stopped singing for 45 years
Right.
and wouldn't sing if it wasn't for Ronnie Eyes bugging
Yeah.
the heck out of me
that's a good
to put the guys together to get an award. It took about a year to do that. Then I put him, when we got the award, then people knew that we were still alive. Wow,
Gotcha.
gee, we're still
Yeah.
alive. So
That's good.
That's the beginning. So then he convinced us to do a show, you know. And then after we got the show done, then he introduced Ron to us, to reference to taking us out here in Long Island
Yeah.
and putting us on a show. He says, the guys are really here. The guys are really here, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And
I didn't think the people would want to hear. You know, I just thought it was kind of old, but it really blows my mind. And to answer your question, of the support from the public, from the people that still want to hear that.
And then
it's a real gas.
we did the first PBS show
Right.
in 2003,
Right.
which was all
Just,
4 original members.
Right.
And Albert Crump, not Albert Crump, I mean Walter Crump,
Right.
singing the lead at that particular
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. It's really been an honor to be with you. The heartbeats rolling on.
You're 1,000 miles away, but I still have your love to remember you by. Oh, my darling, dry your eyes. Daddy's coming home soon.
And we're taking our Doo Wop journey with the other 2 members of the Heartbeats. Gentlemen, we're so proud to have you on our TV show today. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And our show's called the Doo Wop Journey. So when I asked Vernon, I asked Wally, I'm going to ask you guys. Where'd your musical journey get started?
You want to go first?
Well, mine got started back when I was a little small, living in South Jamaica, and a lot of groups came out of South Jamaica.
Right.
And as I grew older, I got more interested in singing, and I started out like a baritone, and my voice started getting higher and higher, and next thing I knew, I was doing a tenor and lead. I sang with a number of groups.
Right.
I did a little thing with the Chesters for a little while, going out to Fort Greene Project, until I mentioned I was from Jamaica, Long Island, and I got chased out of Brooklyn, and that was the end of that.
Right.
But to make a long story short, things went further and further, and Al came to me one day, Al Hanfield,
Right.
because June Bassett and what's the Charlie Basketball. Well, June Bassett and Charlie Basketball passed away, and he wanted to keep the group of the Limelights eventually going. So he asked myself, June's Bassett's brother Ron Bassett, to sing with her, and we were together for 10 years as Shep Limelights.
Right.
And then Ron was always, after the Heartbeats, to come on out and sing, because they didn't sing for a long time. He felt, come on, sing. I got a guy that we could probably fit in with y'all. So he called me up and asked me would I be interested in singing with the Heartbeats.
Right.
And I said, oh, sure, because Ron and I had a tight tenor. I had a tight tenor, he had a nice second tenor.
Right.
And we blended in pretty nice, and we did a lot of accomplishment things. So here we are today, the Heartbeats, and we're doing that thing. As you all know, that Ron passed away
Right.
last Wednesday, so he'll be tremendously missed rather.
Absolutely.
And we're going to just attempt to do the Heartbeats with the 4 of us.
You sound
and,
great.
And hopefully we'll be very successful at that.
And how did you see it from your point of view?
Well, the same thing. I started very young. Matter of fact, the same time the Frankie Lyman and Teenagers came out, I was in a group called the Lucky Teens, which was also affiliated with G Records, with Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. But of course, all the attention went to Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, so we was kind of like put on the shelf.
Right.
So after that, we decided, well, there was the 5 of us from also from Jamaica, Queens.
Gotcha.
So anyhow, we just kept on singing. As a matter of fact, Al Hansfield, which was singing with the Limelights, he was graduated into our group also at one time. So we kept on, and then after a while, the Lucky Teens broke up, as usual. We were young kids. We were 13 years old. Okay.
Exactly.
So then I got into another group, was called Originals. The first original group that was called Originals in 1962.
Yep.
We recorded a couple of songs, and they never went anywhere. So that group broke up. You know.
Oh, sure.
After that, then I got into another group called the Charades, and we had a whole lot of prospect. But one of the brothers that was singing in the group, there were 2 brothers that sang the group. He got drafted into the armed forces. That kind of like broke up the group.
Right.
On top of that, he went. Of course, they shipped him to Vietnam. He got killed over there too.
Right.
So that was the end of my time for a while. Also, I tried to get my brother, which is Al Crump,
Sure.
the original first tenor of the Heartbeats.
Yep.
And from like around 73 on, I said, come on, let's try to do something. No, I don't want to sing no more. I said, okay. So then, make a long story short, T.J. Levinsky had been chasing the Heartbeats for a long time.
For the PBS first special.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So they kept refusing. So in 2003, my brother came to me, he said, you still singing? I said, yeah. He said, well, we got an offer to go on PBS. I said, oh yeah, right away. Okay, yeah. So from 2003 up until, when did you come into the group? When I had you around. About
2004, 5, 6, something like that.
Something around there. Anyhow, around 2004, we had a show, we was doing a cruise for, I don't know if you remember Ronnie I.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Ronnie I. So we needed 2 singers, which we needed a first tenor and a second tenor.
Yep.
So I had spoke to Ron Bassett and asked him did he want to, to go into the group and sing. So I said, well, what about Randy? He said, don't worry about it. Randy going to go. So that's how all we got together now, and that's when we became the Heartbeats all over again.
It's a great story. How do you guys feel about performing now, today?
I
feel
love
good.
it. That was one of my main ambitions in life, to really to
I
sing.
love it.
And I really have accomplished what I wanted to do, and I still enjoy it.
Yep.
I really enjoy it.
How do you like seeing the audience of all different ages now?
Man, that's a blessing too.
That's good.
That means the music
good.
is catching on to
Now,
all of them.
The younger generation
Right.
is catching on to the old style singing rather than going to this here rap, 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 rap.
Hip-hop.
The rock. And I'm glad to see that.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys singing. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
quite
very
welcome.
much.
Really appreciate it.
And like we used to always tell them, before there was hip hop, there was doo wop.
You got that, sir.
On my knees every day, all I do is pray, baby, just for you, hope you'll always want me to, and Daddy's coming home soon.
I hope you're enjoying our amazing journey through the world of doo-wop music. I'm Cool Bobby B from Sirius XM and the 50s on 5. Join me every Sunday night from 9 to midnight with the doo-wop stop. And you want to find out about all the great, incredible live doo-wop performances that LAR Enterprises is bringing to you all over the world in the United States, there's one place to go, and that's the website. It's LARENTR.com. That's www.LARENTR.com. For LAR Enterprises, or just Google it, LAR Enterprises, and get all the info. Rob and Laura do an incredible job of bringing this incredible music to wherever you are. So come see us at one of our amazing live concerts. Just go to our website for the latest live concert information. It's LARENTR.com.
We are real excited to have with us on our Doo Wop Journey TV show tonight, Tony Middleton and the Willows. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us.
Good to be here.
You know, we call our show the Doo Wop Journey. So, Tony, let me ask you, where did your musical journey get started?
114th and 115th at Lenox Avenue in 1951.
Really? Were you singing rhythm and blues at that time, or jazz? Or?
Rhythm and blues.
When you were, I guess, growing up at that point in time, did you have any groups or singers that you kind of looked up to as your idols?
Well, no, I was fighting all the time. So I really didn't recognize those guys out there. Only one guy, Sonny Till and the Orioles.
You're the second guy that mentioned him tonight.
And the Five Royals.
Okay. Now, you came into the Willows after they were already started, right? How did that happen?
Well, it happened because I was coming from the gym one day, and I saw these guys on the stoop singing, vocalizing, or whatever they were doing, and someone said to them, this guy here can sing. Well, I didn't want to show him off, I said, yeah, he's right about that. I said, yeah, I can sing a little bit. He said, so the guy said, well, why don't you join us and hang out and sing a song? Which I said, okay, and we did. And there was a song that I was interested in, and we started rehearsing that. And that was our first record.
I was just going to ask you, how did you get into the recording studio for the first time?
Well, because we were recording this thing, we must have recorded this daggone demo about 20, 30, or 100 times.
Wow.
More. And after that, because we did that on 111th Street, and that time, not a real vinyl, they were tin, plastic.
Yep.
And so we got it together and we picked out that song, one song, and we took it down, went shopping on Broadway.
Okay, you went to different record companies?
Different companies, went to Abbey Records, Pete Rain, and then he met up with some people and changed the label to Allen Records.
Yep.
And then some other stuff. But back in that day, it was completely different in the respect of what it is today. We were doing what we knew best. And so we got lucky. We used to sweep up the office and everything. It was, like a storefront business.
Right.
But the guy named Pete Rain, he really helped us out for a while.
So you swept up the floor and you recorded in the for
recorded,
the same
stayed there, rehearsed all night, and me, Richard,
Yeah.
and Ralph and Joe and
Yep.
Scooter. That's what we did.
Now, how did you come to make the big record, the big one?
Well, we kept on going until we tried to get a little bit ahead of ourselves because we needed a record. And we ran into Marty Kraft. And I said, Marty, we were looking for a date, to record. So he said, he says, right now I'm busy. I said, well, no, wait a minute. I says, I want you to hear the song. And we sung Church Bells May Ring to him. And he said, wow. He says, okay. Meet me upstairs or something. And the next thing we knew that we was in the studio with him.
Now, that was a big record. But how did you feel when another group came out and covered the record right away?
I didn't like it, the Diamonds. Mm-hmm. And the manager became my manager after that.
How'd that happen?
Because he met me and he liked me and he says, okay, Tony, he said, I'm gonna do something for you and blah, 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 this and this. There's a whole lot of crap went on. But he didn't do nothing for us, but he tried to.
Right.
But he couldn't.
Now, over the years, you became quite a celebrated jazz singer, and I believe you had a career in Europe as well. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, well, I went to France because I did a lot of Broadway. I did Free and Easy in Paris. And Quincy is the one that picked me for the job when I walked in the studio that day, and he said, oh, that's the guy, before he asked the question.
Wow.
And asked me to sing a song. I sung a song, you need to move. I did a spin, and when that happened, he said, okay, we'll call you later. So he called me, and I had the job.
And you've been in other Broadway shows since.
I did the lead in Cabin in the Sky off Broadway at Greenwich Muse Theater.
Yeah.
And I did a very good job in that because I was with Kitty Lester and Rosetta Lenoir, really, really good actors and actresses.
Now, who's in the group today?
In our group,
The Willows.
my friend here, Mr. Bob, shut up, don't say a word. Richard Green.
Richard?
And my man, now don't say a word. They got me stuck on this.
He's got me quiet
Bill
all the time.
Prom.
That's right.
And this is my son that I want to cut his neck many times. And I wish I could get that thing off his face.
But he's got some tremendous dancing ability, doesn't he?
He has dancing ability, and he's a funny guy because he don't say nothing.
That's great. Now, let me ask you this, because you talked back, starting back on Allen Records back in those days, all the way up to today. How does it feel to keep performing today?
It feels great because I ran into you. My God, and you've been very nice to us.
Thank you.
And, that's another brainstorm again. You did it again. What's your name?
Cool Bobby B.
Cool Bobby B. See, I'm not too good with names. I think
Coolest
it's
on the planet.
Did I tell you? He never says nothing. And you've been on the trips that we went on together. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you guys coming on the Doo Wop Journey. Legendary group known as Tony Middleton and the Willows.
Yes.
Thank you very
Come
much.
see me. Come
Right,
see
thank
me.
you. I'll be big
Come see me.
always.
Okay.
I got to thank you, Rob. That was a fantastic show.
Yes, it was, Bobby, and I'm so glad we have the opportunity to bring this great music, this doo-wop journey, to everybody. Hope to see you all at the next show.